channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. So as you can tell by the title of this video, today Yoni steam, V steam, whatever you call it. So first I want to start about talking about times you should never steam. If you think you are pregnant or you are pregnant, you have any type of vaginal bleeding, such as your period be on, or you have vaginal spotting, like maybe your period is going off, is trying to come on, or you have vaginal spotting and you don't know why, you should never ever steam at those times. But I also want to come on here and talk about, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about how often you should steam. So most women feel like this is an easy question to answer, but it's not. Actually, vaginal steaming can change from person to person depending on why they're choosing to steam, the or what is going on with their body. So if they're not choosing to steam for a spiritual reason, because today we're just going to be talking about the physical reasons for steaming, then the the general consensus is all women, every woman should be steaming at least once a month, about every 4 to 5 weeks. So if you haven't began steaming already, you should begin steaming at least once a month. That's the general consensus. So if you don't have anything going on, periods are healthy, no vaginal issues, no uterine issues or anything like that, you can steam at least every 4 to 5 weeks, and that's all you need for about a 30-minute steam. If you have more problems going on, we're going to talk about 5 common issues that I encounter whenever I'm dealing with my vaginal steaming issues. My vaginal steaming clients, and then we'll go from there, okay? So the first one is people coming to steam for period problems. And when I say period problems, like I love when my period comes on. I don't have cramps. I don't have heavy bleeding. It doesn't impact me or anything, unless I like to release and detox at that time of the year, at that time of the month. But a lot of people don't, because their periods are horrible. Some people have severe stagnation, so they're dealing with brown blood. Their period blood is very vomit. They have to deal with the migraines and the headaches, the back aches. Some of them have already been diagnosed with PMS or PMDD or whatever you call it. But these women who want to begin a steaming plan, if you want to begin a steaming plan for period problems because you have really, really bad periods, then you should steam twice a month. In and not get on the birth control like most people are going to tell you. I'm just joking. Like, if you go to the doctor, what they're going to do is put you on birth control, but you don't need to take birth control. You could just begin and you will see all the changes without the side effects of the birth control. But anyway, let me get away from that. So if you want to steam for period problems, just steam. I recommend steaming twice a month, and that's a week before, the week before you're expecting your period to come on, steam, and then a few days after it goes off, steam again. But it's important to do this for at least 6 months before you even if you see immediate changes, because typically when you begin steaming, you will see immediate changes. But even if you see immediate changes, commit to this for about 6 months before you decide to change up your steaming plan again if you want to steam for period problems. The second one is for vaginal infections. And when I'm saying vaginal infections, I'm talking about the 2 most common female infections that pertains to vaginal bacteria vaginosis and yeast infections. If you think you may have an STD or think something is going on and you don't know what it is, I don't recommend that you try to steam to fix whatever that is. You should see a doctor and see if you need any type of antibiotics or anything like that, rather than trying to steam. Now, some women know that, oh no, LaQuinta, it's nothing like that. It's simply just a yeast infection because they get them often, or they know that it's BV. So if you are steaming at home for one of these issues, you should steam every day until all of the symptoms of that infection is gone. So if you have yeast infection, you should steam every day, and this can be typically it's about 3 days to 10 days, but some people can steam longer. I mean, some people need to steam more longer than the 10 days, but typically within the 10-day range, that's all that most clients need. But you should steam every day. And I'm going to link in the bottom in the description box the type of herbs that you would use and where you can buy them from at my shop, hersacredplace.com. If you're steaming for a particular reason, the herbs that you should choose for that. But most people can't, if you have to go into a facility and steam, let's just say you had to come to Her Sacred Place and steam. Most people can't steam every day until that problem goes away. And so if you need to talk about a more cost-effective problem, or you feel like you have chronic infections. When I say chronic infections, I mean that you get BV or a yeast infection at least 3 times a year. If you get it 3 times or more a year, I call that chronic. And I think that you should set up a consultation. You can email me at hersacredplace@gmail.com to set up a consultation so that we could talk about what specifically is going on and determine a steaming plan for you to help combat those chronic infections also. But again, if you want a more all natural way to deal with BV or yeast infections, and you can't afford the daily steaming cost that it may incur, just send me an email and I will send you some other options that you can use for that. The third reason is for fibroids. So a lot of women have fibroids. A lot of women know they have them, and some women don't know they have them. Steaming has been proven to help shrink fibroids. Sometimes they just disappear. Sometimes they drop out of the vaginal canal. And some women just report they get better overall, and they never ever go to the doctor to see if they have them or not, but they can tell a change in their body since they begin the steaming process. But I must caution you, I don't ever say that this is a one size fit all approach when women are coming in to steam for fibroids, because it depends on how many they have, what type of symptoms they have from the fibroids, where they're located, and all of those things before I can determine to correctly pinpoint a steaming plan for you or set up a steaming plan for you. I have to take all of those factors into account. And so I say this to say, if you want to begin steaming as a natural way to release your fibroids, because you don't have to have the surgery. I deal with many clients. I have helped a lot of clients get rid of their fibroids, and they decided not to opt for the surgery. They decided to give vaginal steaming a try, and we got them to a healthy place. Even one of my clients was like, "Oh my God, LaQuinta, I had no intention of getting pregnant, but she was just steaming for her fibroids, ended up getting rid of her fibroids and getting pregnant." So that was a blessing for me, and I'm so happy for that. But when it comes to fibroids, make sure you book a consultation, because I have to get more information from you to determine what steaming plan is right for you and how we're going to tackle this situation, and how long I believe you should commit to steaming to tackle this situation before you decide to go an alternative route. Again, you can email me at hersacredplace@gmail.com if you have any questions about fibroids. Going along the same thing of fibroids, we could talk about PCOS, or PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, when it comes to this, like with the fibroids, my clients typically can tell, and with PCOS, they can tell, and they can tell quickly. Most of the symptoms that comes along with PCOS include irregular periods. Some women realize that they bleed a lot, and they bleed very heavy, and they bleed very frequently. So they may say, "Oh, my period just been on 2 weeks ago, and it comes on again," and they know they have PCOS. And so, excuse me, excuse me, they know they have PCOS, so they so they know it's contributing to that. But typically, once clients begin the vaginal steaming process with PCOS, those symptoms are reduced quickly. Now, I always urge clients, if you're going to steam for PCOS, if you're steaming for that particular reason, you should set up an appointment with your doctor at least every 6 months while you're going through the steaming process, to have an ultrasound done to see how steaming is affecting your PCOS, because usually almost always it's in a positive way, but there's like fibroids, there's a couple things that we can track, and I talk with my clients about to let them know, like, okay, this is what's happening. I believe you're ridding your fibroids, but I haven't found a way to figure that out with cysts yet. But I always urge my clients every 6 months during the steaming process, checking with your doctor, see if they're shrinking, see if they're no longer there, see if they're growing, which they shouldn't be, or whatever the case may be. But either way, all of my clients tend to report that their periods get a lot better. They're not nearly as heavy as there was, and they're more regular. They don't have to deal with all that frequent bleeding or not. Shockingly enough, a lot of the facial hair that comes along with PCOS because of the hormonal imbalance, my clients start to report that the thinning of the facial hair tends to happen once they begin the steaming process. So with that being said, if you want more information on steaming for PCOS, make sure to email me at hersacredplace@gmail.com. Last but not least, we want to talk about endometriosis. This is very, very common among women, but I urge all women, if you do not steam without having a consultation or getting some advice from someone who knows about the steaming process with endometriosis. Don't just say, I'm going to buy something and begin steaming at home, because you could cause more problems than you can help. Most of the women who deal with endometriosis deal with a lot of vaginal bleeding. They may bleed for days, weeks, months. It's heavy bleeding. Some of them don't even ever stop spotting or anything like that. But I always urge all clients, make sure you do a consultation if you have endo and you want to begin the steaming process. Again, this could hurt you more than it can help you if you don't steam properly. So make sure you get with someone who's trained or who's certified and who know how to deal with you as a specific client, because this could go wrong quickly, especially depending on what stage of endo you're in. And if you want to talk to me about that specifically, definitely email me at hersacredplace.com. Again, for all of these steaming all of these, I will just link in the description box. A link to my website is www.hersacredplace.com, where we are a feminine hygiene company specializing in products for your sacred place. So I hope you women all shop there. But in the end, I wanted to end up by saying steaming isn't just generalized. As I started off before, if you don't have anything going on and you just want to stay nice and healthy as a preventative, then steaming once a month is fine. You could just steam once a month. However, if you have more severe things going on, you can steam up to once a week. However, we need to discuss why you're steaming once a week and make sure you're not over steaming. You shouldn't just be doing that because someone tell you, oh, that's what they do and it works for you. Another side note going off of that is, if you have never steamed at a facility before as someone who's certified in vaginal steaming or yoni steaming, I caution you not to just go buy something off Amazon or Etsy or wherever and just say, okay, I'm going to start steaming at home. A lot of women are like, oh, it didn't do anything for me. Probably because you did it wrong. Your temperature wasn't controlled. You don't know what to expect. And you probably are using the wrong set of herbs. Because a lot of the times when you just buy a generalized set of herbs, that's probably not what you need for anything you may specifically have going on. And you also have to caution yourself about who and where you are buying your herbs from. A lot of people may say, oh, it's like organic, or oh, my herbs are this, or oh, I use this. But that's not the case. That's all marketing. If you want to be sure you have all natural, organic, fresh herbs, you can buy your herbs directly at hersacredplace.com. We have actually 5 different blends, and you can always do a consultation with me by emailing hersacredplace@gmail.com to determine which herbal blend is best for you before you even purchase. But the most important thing I want to say is, Don't just do this just to do this, because I've heard so many times is, oh, LaQuenta, I did that and it caused this problem with me. And I'm like, probably. And I can tell you why it probably caused that problem with you, because this may have happened and you shouldn't have done that. Or you shouldn't have used a herb that had a herbal blend that had these particular herbs in it, because you have fibroids, or because you're postmenopausal. If you use this type of herbs, that's going to cause you problems. If you're already dealing with vaginal dryness and you use a specific herbal blend, that's going to exacerbate your vaginal dryness. But a lot of women don't know that. And so I say all of that to say, just be cautious of who you get your herbs from, where you buy them from, and make sure that they're a trusted source. And you know, if you get them from hersacredplace.com, they are trusted. More importantly, we do wholesale too. So to your businesses out there, you women with the steaming businesses, if you're looking for a new place to get your herbs from, to make sure they are what we say they are, you can definitely wholesale our herbs from us also. But I wanted to keep this video short and sweet and come on here and talk about how often you should vaginal steam. Me personally, I steam twice a month. I don't have anything going on, but I always choose to steam the week before my period goes on, and the week before my period comes on, and the week after it goes off. That's just my personal preference, and I've been doing that now. When I first started, I used to have chronic BV. Um, and then I wasn't introduced to vaginal steaming, but I'm one of those women who get frequent infection. Get an infection from antibiotics. I'm one of those women. And so because of my chronic BV, I was constantly taking antibiotics, which gave me chronic yeast infection. And so when I first started steaming, I would steam every week to tackle my chronic infections problem. But after all of that after I got done with all of that, now I just steam twice a month. And sooner or later, I may just go to once a month, because I don't need to steam as frequently anymore. But at this point in my life, I'm steaming more for spiritual reasons rather than physical reasons. So there's a totally different reason why I steam. But if you guys want me to do a video on that, we could do a video on that, talking about that. But if you have any questions below, leave them in the comments. Leave them in the comments, and I will get around to answering them. And also in the comment section, let me know if you steam, how often you steam, and if you don't steam yet, why are you thinking about steaming? I'm just interested to see what brought you to the channel to have you thinking about steaming, and how often those of you are already steaming. All right, bye.